Oh, I'm Tara Tyler. I'm head of communications at voice123.com. I'm also one of the coaches, one of the instructors at Voice 123 Academy. I came from the world of radio production. So I did that for about 10 years before deciding to get into voiceover and really become interested in Voice 123. So I'm an Adobe Audition expert. Well, I know a lot about Adobe Audition. It's a huge program. There's tons and tons of stuff you can do with it. So my course is called Audio Editing with Adobe Audition 6 for Voice Actors. And I break down, the basics of recording, setting up your software, and things that voice actors need to know specifically. Because, like I said, Audition is a huge program, and it can really bog you down. So that's why I wanted to teach specifically for voice actors using Adobe Audition. With me, I saw Elaine pop in, Elaine Clark of Voice One San Francisco, and I'm also joined by Peter Roffe from Stage Coaching in Manhattan, in New York. So Peter he's been in the industry for a long time, one of today's top experts. And not only does he do coaching, but he's also a recording artist as well. So Peter, if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself a little bit, give us a little bit of your history, and then tell us why you decided to teach with Voice 123 Academy.
Well, thank you first and foremost for having me here tonight. And I look forward to sharing a little bit about myself and also learning from you guys as well. I basically got into this business over 20 years ago. I was an actor, trained actor, musical theater. Voiceover was really not part of the master plan to me. I thought I was going to be on stage or in front of a camera, and it didn't necessarily pan out that way. Although I did work as an actor and I got my union cards, I moved to Los Angeles. I was a working actor, but I was also a struggling actor, like many working actors, because every job that you have is very finite. They all come to an end, and there's a tremendous period of downtime and looking for new work. And in the interim, I was not a very good worker. I was not good with my hands in a restaurant. So I knew that wasn't the right line of work for me. I didn't want to be a temp. I didn't want to work in some menial jobs. So I thought that perhaps one interesting talent, unique talent that I did have from childhood was that I could do impressions. And I can do interesting and funny voices. Impersonate teachers, impersonate celebrities, impersonate family members. And I basically took that skill set and recorded myself at home on literally a cassette tape, because back then cassette was, that was the thing. So I had a big cassette tape player, and I recorded myself doing voices and whatnot. And that was basically the very beginning of my voice career. I brought that tape to a few people that I knew in the industry, and they said, you know what, you're pretty good at this. You should really look at this as a possibility. So I then professionally worked with someone. I took many classes. I even studied with coaches, and I learned a lot about myself. It's a craft that is definitely not something that's necessarily easy. I learned that it's highly competitive, just like acting, but that you needed an excellent showcase of what you can do to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. And my showcase was that I could do impressions and I could do character voices. So I was fortunate enough to lay those tracks down and have them produced fairly well. And really, the rest is history. I met with my first agent, which was Cunningham Escott, Slevin and DePini, although back then it was called Cunningham Escott, DePini, CED. Now it's got the S in there because there's another part of it. But I worked with them. I signed to them for a one-year contract. Within that first year, I started to book a bunch of different jobs for commercials, cartoons, did some voiceovers for promos and whatnot, and absolutely found that not only was this my calling, but this was a great way to make a living while I was still pursuing traditional acting work. it gave me the flexibility to be an actor. I didn't have to work as a waiter on the night shift and then be exhausted for my daytime auditions for pilots and movies and shows and whatnot. The voiceover, work gave me that opportunity to still use my God-gift natural talent and my chops, and still be an actor, but be an actor behind the microphone. So I don't come from a broadcast background. I don't come from an announcing background. In fact, listening to me now, I don't know if you guys can hear, but my voice is not necessarily what you would call a voiceover voice per se. It's just an interesting sound. And today, the majority of things that I do is in my own voice, not in the character voices that I typically do. So it's sort of morphed over the years. But to make a long story short, I got into coaching about 20 years ago, about 18 years ago, when I started helping actually a friend of mine who was in some way a competitor. We used to see each other at auditions, and we basically, the exact same, roles, whether they were commercials or cartoons and whatnot. And I guess he went through a serious dry spell where he stopped booking jobs, and I think he was alarmed by it, and he asked me, because he'd known that I had been booking fairly consistently and doing well, and he asked me if I could help him on the side. So I said, yeah, you know what, why don't you gather some of the audition scripts that you go out on, bring them home, and then, I'll come over and I'll look at your script with you and see what you're doing right, see perhaps what you're doing wrong, if you've created any bad habits along the way. And I started coaching him without even really knowing that I was coaching him. Within, I think, a few weeks, he booked a national McDonald's campaign. And started to make all this crazy money. And he attributes it to the work that we did in his apartment.
Wow.
So clearly there was some kind of correlation between what I was telling him and he was responding to it and he was booking. And then he said to me, another day that I had seen him, he said, Peter, you should really, help others. Try to get into it. Maybe legitimize yourself as a coach. And I said, you know what, I really enjoyed working with you. Maybe I'll enjoy working with others as well. And that was basically the beginning of my coaching career. And that in itself has sort of taken off in its own direction. But the thing that I remember most is I don't give up my own voiceover coaching. My own voiceover career is still my front burner. The coaching I love, and I absolutely met a ton of people in the business doing it, but being a voiceover talent is really the most fun, the most rewarding, and really the most monetarily rewarding job that I've had. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Well, thank you very much for
hey guys,
your history. And,
good morning. Today is Wednesday. I think today's day 14. 14? Hold on, let me go check that.
Chance to introduce herself. Elaine, you'll have to unmute your mic. I see that you're muted, so just click on.
Yep, today is Wednesday, December 4, day 14 of 30 burpees, 30 days. Today I did 35 burpees because I made an agreement with a friend at a bar last night that for every trivia answer each of our respective teams got wrong, we would penalize ourselves 10 burpees. And my team didn't do so hot. I think I ended up doing 26 burpees at the bar on the grody floor. I'm sure this hand is diseased. 26 at the bar, and then we got another 2 questions wrong after I did the 26. Or 24, really. Holly, my friend, helped me out. So I've got, I did 5 extra this morning. I've got another 15 to do today. And I guess I'll video those too. Have a good Wednesday, folks. Keep at it. Bye.